So, what if I told you that the constant, relentless pursuit of happiness is actually the very thing that's making you miserable? Today, we're diving into The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, a guide that basically flips everything you thought you knew about living a good life completely on its head.
Let me just ask you something. Are you tired? I mean, really tired of that endless social media scroll of good vibes only? That constant nagging pressure to be positive, to be successful, and to be happy all the time? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It turns out that this constant chase, this need for more and more positive experiences, might actually be the thing that's making us all feel worse. So it's time for a radically different approach. And that brings us to our first big idea, what we can call the tyranny of positivity. We're going to explore exactly why trying harder and harder to be happy is a trap, and why it so often, well, just backfires. Okay, so this brings us to this really fascinating and, let's be honest, kind of frustrating idea called the hedonic treadmill. Think about the last time you got something you really, really wanted. A promotion, a new phone, that car. That feeling was amazing, right? But for how long? A week? A month? Pretty soon, that shiny new thing just becomes, well, normal. We're always running towards the next goal, thinking that is going to be the thing that finally makes us happy, but we're not actually getting anywhere. And this is what's known as the backwards law, and it's a total paradox. The more desperately you chase feeling good, the more you start to notice all the ways you don't feel good, which, you guessed it, only makes you feel worse. The surprising secret here? Accepting a negative experience, like anxiety or failure, is in itself a positive experience. It's what builds resilience and, weirdly enough, a sense of peace. Okay, so if chasing good feelings is just a trap, what's the alternative? Well, the answer isn't about becoming indifferent to everything. It's actually about becoming incredibly selective. It's about the art of choosing what truly matters. Let's just be super clear about this. Not giving a fuck doesn't mean being apathetic or, being a jerk. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about guarding your energy. It's about reserving your deepest care for the few things in life that are genuinely important, and then consciously choosing to just let go of everything else. Here's a really great way to think about it. Imagine you start every single day with just a handful of golden coins. Now, these coins represent your attention and your energy. Every little thing, social media drama, a rude comment someone made, your favorite show getting canceled, it all asks for a coin. And if you give a coin to everything, you're going to end up broke. The art is choosing to spend your coins only on what truly enriches your life. All right, so we get it. We need to choose what we care about wisely. But how do we actually do that in a world that's just full of noise? Let's break it down into 3 practical pillars for building a stronger, more resilient life. The very first pillar starts by completely reframing our relationship with failure. We're often taught to avoid it at all costs. But what if it's not some obstacle? What if failure is actually the path forward? So, embracing the struggle means seeing challenges as opportunities. Think about an entrepreneur. They don't want a life without problems. No, they actively choose the problems that come with building a business over, say, the problems of a 9-to-5 job. The key isn't to avoid problems, because that's impossible. It's to consciously choose the problems that are meaningful to you. Pillar number 2 is all about this really powerful distinction, fault versus responsibility. See, fault is about the past, who's to blame for a situation. But responsibility, that's about the present. It's about your response. Someone else might be at fault for your bad day, but you are always, always responsible for how you react to it. And that choice, right there, is where all your power lies. And that brings us to our third and, maybe the most controversial pillar. In a culture that absolutely worships being exceptional, what if the most liberating thing you could do is just accept that you are, for the most part, average? Now, this isn't about giving up. Not at all. It's actually about gaining freedom. When you let go of that crushing pressure to be extraordinary, you can finally start to appreciate the simple joy of an ordinary life. A great conversation, a walk in the park, finishing a book. You can focus on these small, real victories instead of chasing a spotlight that might never even come. So we've got these 3 pillars for building a more resilient life. But there's one final, really powerful idea that ties it all together. A concept that can act as the ultimate filter for deciding what truly matters.
There is one absolute, undeniable truth in life. And confronting this truth instead of running from it can act as the ultimate compass for deciding what is actually worth caring about.
And that certainty is death. I know, it's a heavy topic, but it's also an incredibly powerful tool. Remembering that your time is finite is a real wake-up call. It forces you to cut through all the noise, the trivial anxieties, and the meaningless goals, and just ask yourself, okay, given my limited time here, what truly matters? And that leaves us with one last crucial question we all have to ask ourselves. Knowing your time is precious, what problems do you want to have? What values in your life are actually worth suffering for? What will you choose to give your golden coins to? The answer to that? Well, that's the foundation of a good life.